In order to ameliorate the suffering of workers across the country, the federal government has been charged to come up with functional housing policies that will meet the yearnings and expectations of workers. This assertion was recently given by the national president, Nigerian Union of Local Government Employees, Comrade Ambali Hakim Olatunji, FCMP, while speaking with newsmen in his Lube residence after the federal government approval of the new minimum wage.
Our message from the leadership is that workers should reciprocate the good gesture by employer of labor, and to other employer of labor too. There will be no justification for any employer not to pay, because it has been a protracted negotiation. At the end of the day, Mr. President, in his wisdom, chose to come in and acted like a father, and we are able to amicably resolve the issue. With what transpired at the meeting today, Mr. President has promised that he's going to transmit that bill to the Assembly next week, and we expect that minimum wage to be backdated to the date the last minimum wage act expire, which is April 16th. So we also believe that all other organs of the union at the state level and the private sector level will be up and doing. They should be able to engage their employer to ensure compliance. The workers are the engine room of development. They are the one that drive progress and development and developmental growth. So we believe that a well-motivated worker is an asset to production, and we believe that it will enhance their productivity. There will be enhanced productivity. There will be dedication to duty. Workers will now concentrate. That at least within the little of increment added, they know that life will be a bit better than what it used to be in this crucial economic situation. So I believe is that workers will be more dedicated, they will be more loyal to the establishment, and they will continue to pray for the success of the country, because all other aspects of the economy has increased their prices. Is it artisan? Is it private sector? Is it electricity? Is it petroleum sector? So every increment has been the order of the day in all other sectors. It is only worker salary that remains static, and with what has happened now, workers will be able to absorb the economic shock in the system and be able to manage and go ahead. So that is number one. And number two is that even entrepreneurs and micro and small scale industry will be able to sell their products, because some of the products are beyond reach of Nigerian workers and it is kept in the shelf. Some has expired, some are no longer selling, and once this minimum wage is implemented properly, workers will have enhanced purchasing power to buy goods and services, because they don't travel outside the country. Whatever they take, recycle within the economy. So it will grow the local economy, and production will increase, and it will also help government, because workers are the only one paying pay as you go tax in Nigeria. Nigeria is a funny country whereby the poorest continue to pay taxes, while we grant tax holiday and moratorium to those super rich. So we believe that by the time this minimum wage is also subject to necessary tax, government revenue will also increase. So it's a win-win situation. Presently, Nigeria run a deregulated economy because of capitalism. In the past, in the era of Awolowo and others, we run a socialist economic type, whereby government believe that they have to provide basic amenities for life and also enhance standard of living. But now that Nigeria has opted out of that and preferred capitalism, there's no regulatory market. You don't regulate the market. Individual, every entrepreneur fix price of what they sell and their goods and products. They allow the market force to determine prices. So what labor can do is to make sure, like what we have done, to negotiate for enhanced minimum wage, for workers to be able to live in decent housing. And one of the items of salary is housing allowance, which is captured in that. Not that alone, we believe that federal government has initiated an housing policy across the country. So we believe that workers who are on National Housing Fund, who subscribe to that, will be able to raise enough capital and access the housing market so that they will have roof over their heads. For example, in Abuja now, when you look at people who live within the city, it is very expensive. Workers cannot afford. They live in the suburb like Gwagwalada, like Karu, like outside the. So what we believe is that Federal House Ministry of Housing, Federal Housing Authority need to live up to expectation. They need to open up rural communities, provide low-cost housing for workers, because the cost of housing now that is being sold is beyond the reach of an average worker. But generally outside Nigeria, even in the capitalist world, what they do is to have a social security policy whereby workers are able to access housing facility, car facilities using mortgage. That has not been operational in Nigeria. So we believe that the Nigeria should review, the National Assembly should look at social policy and pass necessary social legislation to capture those within the social net, those who are vulnerable, including the workers in the society. Not only workers, the pensioners are involved, the women, especially those rural women, they are involved. Because when you look at it now, the economic situation has pushed most men outside their matrimony. So the job of catering for the family now lie mostly on the shoulder of women. So that's why we need to look at that. We need to have local content in our housing policy so that cheap materials will be affordable and can be used. We need to scale up our technological advancement to make sure we provide enough housing for Nigeria. And again, to the price of cement is not affordable. So government should look at what is responsible for skyrocketed price of cement in Nigeria, whereby the price of cement in Sierra Leone, in Cotonou and Ghana are lesser and more affordable than Nigeria. We should deregulate the market. We break the market up and control the monopoly that dominates cement industry in Nigeria.
Comrade Ambali, who appreciated the magnanimous gesture of the federal government, urged workers to be diligent in the discharge of their duties at all times. In light of the above, he implored the federal government to also regulate the prices of goods and services, housing and cost of transportation in order for workers to be able to live a reasonable standard of life. Speaking further, he noted that if the aforementioned measures are not put in place, the new minimum wage will still not be enough take home for workers. Similarly, he appealed to private sector to implement the new minimum wage expediently, while explaining that federal government might commence the payment of the new minimum wage from the date the 30,000 naira minimum wage expired, which is 16th April 2024. Conclusively, Comrade Ambali urged workers to kindly reciprocate the kind gesture of the government by ensuring that they discharge their duties efficiently.